Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me early for live from Michigan, the Q&A from America's Heartland. Thanks everybody for joining me. Let's jump right in. Hang in. All right, so welcome everyone. That intro is not as smooth as it used to be because it's a little different. I've got a couple of new things going on here. As you guys know, I moved recently, so that's all new. So welcome Jesse Compton. I did move to Michigan. Here I am. Great caper. New time, love it. I'm glad. Once I got on Eastern time, I was starting the live stream at 9, and it was running a bit late for me. I'm an old man. I try to get to bed early, I guess. Howdy from Idaho, Grand Illusion, Mr. David from San Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Mr. David is one of my patrons, and we talk on the Q&A on Thursdays. So if you guys want to have a one-on-one voice and video conversation with me, I invite you over to my Patreon page. I think there's a card up there, somewhere up there. Betty A., nice to see you. Michigan warm coat ready? No, I have a jacket, but I haven't bought my winter coat yet. Celtic FC fan. White in Vermont. Thoughts on Cardano? I have a patron. Pardon me. Pardon me. I have a patron that joins every Thursday, and he's a big believer in Cardano. I do own some Cardano. Goodness gracious. I do own some Cardano. Wow. And we were talking about Cardano, and I mentioned that it was flirting with its all-time lows. Boy. I'll take a deep breath here. And so Aton said, great. It's cheaper for him to buy. So that's kind of my statement on Cardano. So for those of us that believe in Cardano, it's a good time to buy, I guess. That would be what I would say. All right. So let's check into the news. Now, it's funny because I created this title earlier today, Is Bitcoin a Safe Haven? And the only reason that I did that was because I noticed that the stock market was down, which it ended up being way down today, and that at the time Bitcoin was up a bit, pretty much right around where it's at now, around 10.3 something. And I was kind of like, well, I'm glad that the stock market is down and the Bitcoin is up, and I just thought I would throw that out there and ask everyone what they thought about that. Is Bitcoin becoming a safe haven? And lo and behold, there was an article in Forbes, no less, this afternoon, saying Bitcoin is the new gold. Trade war, I guess, related to the trade war. So the person that wrote this article believes that Bitcoin is the new gold, and he's pretty adamant about it. He shows these charts from today where gold went up. I think this is today. Markets down on Trump trade war escalation. And then Bitcoin went up when the market went down initially. The market went down initially because China had announced some new trade sanctions, tariffs, and then it had sort of stabilized even after the Fed spoke. I guess he just walked the tightrope and didn't give them hope or despair. And then Trump announced that he was retaliating, and he made the bold statement that U.S. companies should get out of China and the market kind of tanked on that because it was kind of a bold and controversial thing to say. Like most of the stuff that he tweets, it's usually, based on emotion. But he's a businessman, and a lot of times people that are in positions of power use emotions to, manipulate people to a certain extent. I don't know if you've ever had that kind of boss, that just sort of uses the emotional shock to sort of, manipulate you or get a reaction from you or whatever. But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about Trump. I'm just talking about the supposed effect that Trump had on the stock market going down today. Of course, it has nothing to do with the fact that the stock market is the hugest Ponzi scheme known to man. No, of course, the stock market is great. It's just that Trump said something, and that is what caused the stock market to dive, right? That's what the news says, right? So here's the stock market, and then here's the article: Dow plummets after Trump orders U.S. manufacturers to leave China. It was an emotion. It's an emotional market. It was an emotional statement, an emotional reaction. So yeah, okay, but the stock market, I'm not a big fan of it. So anyway, so the idea here, and Forbes sort of backs me up, is that Bitcoin is becoming a safe haven play for people. And now there's a lot of other people out there that say it's not a safe haven, but they're not buying Bitcoin, right? I was thinking about this earlier. I really don't care what people that don't buy Bitcoin say about Bitcoin, right? If you're on the fringes, right, and you're just one of those Bitcoin bashers, and you're calling it a Ponzi scheme, and you're saying that people that are buying Bitcoin as a safe haven are idiots and all that kind of stuff, they're not affecting the market, right? They're just over there, spouting about, their derision over Bitcoin, but they're not major players, right? They're not buying Bitcoin. What I care about are the people that are buying Bitcoin. And the market is, the proof is in the pudding, right? When Bitcoin goes up because people are buying it, that's a bolder statement than the naysayers on the sidelines that are telling me that anyone that buys Bitcoin is an idiot, right? Mm-hmm. I think we already have established that buying Bitcoin is not the act of an idiot. If you look at the all-time chart of Bitcoin, you can see that over the last 10 years, it's much higher than where it started, right? So anyway, let me take a look at what other people are saying here. I've got some other stuff to talk about today, which is kind of cool. Let's get this back here. Whoops. Let's get this back here. Let me look at my little comment section here and see what people are saying. All right. Jesse Compton applied for the MCO card, used my link, both got 50. Thank you so much, Jesse. I did get a few $50 spiffs from MCO. We'll talk about MCO Visa card and crypto.com tonight. It's pretty exciting what they're doing. They asked me to partner with them. And the more I experience them, and the more interested I get, they're changing the way we buy and sell and spend crypto, which I think is pretty cool. So thank you so much for that, Jesse. I appreciate it. Okay, Michigan has small flies. Okay, what's up, guys? J. Christian Rutledge, my Ledger Live is not showing my digital assets. Where did they go? Accidentally erased my original settings on my Ledger Nano X. Does this mean that I have to go through the recovery phrase? No, Christian, not necessarily. I accidentally erased the original settings on my Ledger Nano X. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Did you accidentally reset the device completely. If you did that, then you do need to do a recovery. If all you did was delete some apps, you can just re-add them in Ledger Manager. And then if you somehow erased your Ledger Live, then all you have to do is reinstall Ledger Live and then reconnect the Ledger and re-add accounts, right? So you don't have to do a full restore of the device if you did not reset the entire device. I don't know exactly what you mean by accidentally erased original settings. So throw up some more about that and maybe we'll talk a little more. Some say it's a hedge against government currencies and utter collapse. The more volatile your country's currency is, the more likely you are to hedge against fiat. And that's a good point, Mitchell, because Bitcoin is pretty big in like places like Venezuela, Turkey, where they're having a currency crisis. Okay, now there's that whole argument that says, well, if the entire economy collapses, then there'll be panic in the streets. We won't have electricity, and Bitcoin won't be of any value to us because no one will have power, right? So it's not really a hedge against total economic collapse. But I don't think we're going to see total economic collapse. I think what we'll see is more economic inequality, rich getting richer and poor getting poorer. We're going to see debts. We might see some bank collapses, but I think the system will sort of survive. It'll just be harder and harder for the people at the bottom and in the middle. And in that scenario, then having Bitcoin is a good hedge against that. The total collapse of society is, we're not going to really be worried too much about Bitcoin or anything else if the entire society collapses. Now, and let's say that happens and you've got a bunch of US dollars stashed away, your US dollars aren't going to do you much good either. Now, gold might, if you've got it in small spendable amounts. But really, I mean, if the entire economy collapses or the entire fabric of society falls apart, then it's really going to be like toothpaste and bullets. If you can go and trade your toothpaste for food, that kind of stuff. It'll be a barter situation. Well, but a hedge against stock market collapses, depressions, recessions, Bitcoin appears to be a good hedge in that respect, right? Whoops. Actually, about my Maxwell's equations. Now that's interesting. A famous physicist / mathematician, I believe, Maxwell. Not only has it been higher over the 10 years, the dollar has become worth less over that 10 years. It's compounding different trajectories. And Maxwell's equations makes a very good point. I've often talked about Bitcoin in its deflationary nature, whereas the US dollar is inflationary by nature. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it is in practice, right? We always talk about inflation, and it's always a rate, right? We always talk about inflation is the lowest it's ever been, since 1940 or whatever, and they're saying, well, inflation is now only 5% on the books, right? We all know that these numbers are fudged anyway, right? But even the U.S. government's Bureau of Labor Statistics figures, if they're saying right now that inflation is like 2% or 3% or whatever crazy number they're calling it, it's still a rate, right? It's still a rate of increase, right? It's always going up, no matter what. You never hear inflation being negative, right? You never go, oh yeah, nothing's inflating lately. Prices are all staying the same, right? Prices always go up in relation to the U.S. dollar, right? You cannot buy a candy bar with the same candy bar you bought 10 years ago with the dollar. It's more, right? The candy bar is now $1.19 or $1.29 or whatever the heck candy bars are now. They used to be 50 cents, right? They used to be a quarter when I was a kid. So the U.S. dollar is inflationary by nature. It always it's worth less and less and less as time goes by. So why would you want a currency like that? What we're all programmed to believe in the U.S. dollar, but I mean it sucks, right? It goes down in value. What kind of currency is that? Not a good currency in my view. Maybe a stable and maybe the best currency in the world right now, but it's like the emperor's new clothes. Hey, wait a minute. It keeps buying less and less every year. Is that good? I don't think so. Sorry about my camera here. It's giving me a hard time. So we're good. All right, yeah, so the dollar is not only has the value of Bitcoin gone up, but the value of the dollar has gone down over those last 2 years. Let me take this. It's my brother real quick. Hey, what's happening? Not much. I'm right in the middle of my live stream, but I thought it might be important, so I took your call. About an hour. Okay, cool. All right, thanks. All right. All right, cool. Nobody died. You never know. My brother and I are, we get along really well, but we don't call each other that often, So I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay. So that's cool. All right. Freddie Diarte. Hey, Rex, just got the Nano X. Am I supposed to be able to see my crypto balance off the Ledger? Whoops. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Hey, Rex, just got the Ledger Nano X. Am I supposed to be able to see my crypto balance off the Nano screen, not just Ledger? No. Unfortunately, even the Ledger Nano X, even though it does have a bigger screen, does not show your balance when you go to the Bitcoin app. But it does display the amounts when you're sending, right? And I think the old Ledger did that too. So, for instance, when you're doing a transfer from, say, your Ledger to an exchange or something of that nature, you're going to see during the transaction, it'll ask you, do you want to send this amount? And I think the last video that I did where I was sending Bitcoin was... Oops, that's kind of too far. Here we go. If you check out this video that I did on the new features of the Ledger, the new native SegWit feature, and the new ERC20 features of the Ledger Nano, of the Ledger Live, I do send some Bitcoin in there. How do I do this? Copy? And it shows on the screen, hey, you're about to send 0.02 Bitcoin. But it does not display you can't check your balance on the screen. I guess it would be nice, but it's just, it doesn't work that way. It would be nice. Yeah, it would. It'd be cool. But it doesn't. Okay, all right. So, J. Christian Rutledge is asking about his assets, and he says they're not showing on Ledger Live. Okay, so step one would be to just try to add the account again, right? So if you know you've got a Bitcoin wallet on your Ledger device, right, and you've got your Ledger device connected to the computer. As you guys know, the Ledger Nano X does Bluetooth. It can interface with your phone wirelessly. But if you wanted to interface with Ledger Live desktop version, you will need to have it connected. All right? So I've got it connected. So let's say add account. Okay. So you're telling me you don't see your assets. Let's see if so let's just say I'm Jay Christian and I don't see. All right. Let's take this account and let's delete it. All right. All right. So, where's my assets? My Bitcoin's gone. Is my Bitcoin gone? No, it's not gone. It's the private key is safely stored on this device. How do I see it again? All right. Let's go to add account. Let's go to choose asset Bitcoin and let's hit continue. Now it wants me to enter the Bitcoin app on the device. So let's do that. All right, so we're going to need to, whoops, sorry about that, guys. Let's get this off. We're going to need to, it's a little funky because we've got that. So we can go over to Bitcoin, right? It says Bitcoin. We hit both buttons. Your ledger is similar. You just navigate to the Bitcoin app, right? We hit both buttons or, we hit both buttons on the Ledger Nano S, right? And now it's I've successfully done what it's asked me to do, right? I connected my ledger and I opened my Bitcoin app. Now let's hit continue, and now it's scanning the device for any Bitcoin wallets that were already there, right? Where are my assets? They're on here, right? I'm letting the Ledger Live scan for the Bitcoin assets that I know live on here, right? Now, this is assuming that you did not reset your entire device, right? We're just talking about you reinstalled Ledger Live or you deleted your app or whatever you did, right? All right, so there it is, right there. Now, let's say you didn't have the Bitcoin app on here. All right, so let's, I'm going to untick these. I don't need them. I just want to re-add that account that you just saw me delete, right? And I can rename it. All right, and let's hit add account, and boom, there we go. There's the Bitcoin. It was never really gone. It just wasn't showing up in Ledger Live. Now let's take the next scenario. You managed to delete the Bitcoin app, right? So you go over to the Ledger Manager and you exit all apps, right? So if I'm in an app right at the moment, and I know this chroma key is kind of messing with you guys. I go over to quit, and now I'm at the home screen, right? And when I'm at the home screen, I can enter Ledger Manager. But I will also have to confirm on the device that I want to allow Ledger Manager on there. All right? So let's do that. Let's hit both buttons. Go back here. All right, so there we are. Now all I need to do is install Bitcoin again. If you deleted your Bitcoin app and you did not reset the device, you just somehow deleted your Bitcoin app, you can re-add it, no problem, right? As long as you didn't erase the entire device, then all you got to do is go re-add the Bitcoin app. And then you just hit install, and when it's done, then you go back over to accounts and do add account, just like you saw me do. And then you're back. Now, if that is not your problem, if you somehow reset the entire device, then you need to restore from your 24-word recovery phrase. So I hope that I got the question answered. And I hope that all you did was delete Ledger Live and just you need to re-add your account. I hope that's all you need to do, because that's easy. You saw me do it. It took me 2 seconds. Well, 2 minutes, right? All right, so let's check where we stand. Okay. Now you're saying, do I need to... Okay, so J. Christian Rutledge did manage to reset his entire device. Do I need to use this new recovery phrase, or do I use the original recovery phrase? So, class, does he need his new recovery phrase or his old recovery phrase?
Well, at least she answered me.
Any takers? He needs the old recovery phrase. The new recovery phrase is for the new blank one, right? So you've created a new blank one, and they gave you a recovery phrase, which you dutifully copied down. But that new recovery phrase is for that blank ledger that has no assets on it. You need the original recovery phrase, right? And in order to do that, you'll need to go through the initial setup again, right? And you can do it pretty easily. I don't know if you're on an X or an S, but the X has a cool little feature where if you hold both buttons, it takes you to this like menu screen. You know what? I'm just going to turn this off for a second. I'm just going to turn my chroma key off for a second. Okay. All right, so now you see my green screen, but at least now you can see this thing. All right, so you can go over here to, oops, come on, baby. Stay in focus. Focus, focus, focus. You can go to your settings, hit both buttons, and then both buttons again, and there you've got, no, it's not that one. All right, let's go over here. Oh, it's security, right? You go in, oops, go into security and go down to reset all, right? And then after you do your reset all, when you reboot the ledger you're in recovery mode, you'll use that original recovery phrase to restore the device. I'm going to turn chroma key back on again. All right. Yeah, okay, so you managed to reset the device. Okay, it happens. It's, you know, no shame in that. But I would recommend, let's see which video here. The most recent video I did on doing a full restore of a Ledger Nano X, and I'm assuming you had the X, is... There it is, right there. How to restore Ledger Nano X from a 24-word recovery phrase of your previous Ledger Nano S. But either way, it's just how to restore a Ledger Nano X from a recovery phrase, basically. Same process, right? This one's specific to you just bought an X and then you're just going to use your old recovery phrase to put all your old stuff on your new X. But it's the same process. All right, so I'll just copy that, and we'll paste that in there. And I would suggest check it, you know, don't panic. Just like go through that video, and you'll see it's pretty simple to do a recovery on a Ledger Nano. And if you've added any additional assets to that X after your reset thing, then hang on to that new recovery phrase. I don't know if you've added anything. It sounds like it's just empty. But if you've added anything since that reset, then hang on to that new recovery phrase. You might need that to recover any assets that you may have added. So I'm not sure where you're at. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. You got the X. That's good. Yeah.
Sorry, I accidentally pressed that.
Good. I'm
Rolling me along.
All right, well that's cool. All right, so there were a couple other news stories that I wanted to talk about, stuff that happened. A big one is the Bakkt announcement.
Okay, so
all right, so that was early in the week. Bakkt announced, B-A-K-K-T, announced that they're cleared to launch Bitcoin futures next month. And this is pretty big because they are Bitcoin settled, which means if some big company buys Bitcoin futures, Christabel, you're too loud. Please, I told you when I started. Okay? My daughter. I don't know if you guys could hear her in the background, but I could. All right. So this is big. Bakkt first unveiled last August that they were working on regulatory approval for Bitcoin futures that are settled in actual Bitcoin. I think the CME Bitcoin futures that were introduced in 2017 could be settled in cash, right? So you basically bought Bitcoin futures, and if the price of Bitcoin went up, then your futures were worth more, and you would just get paid in cash. But these are settled with actual Bitcoin. So that means that when people are buying and selling these futures, at some point, Bitcoin will need to be bought and sold as well. So that's really big. And this is the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange. So this is a big deal. This is not like some, fly-by-night company that is selling Bitcoin futures. This is the big leagues. And there's been a lot of delays, so it's kind of like I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, I just couldn't take it anymore. She was just too loud. But she takes after me. I'm the one that taught her how to use the computer, right? So this was when she was 2, right? I taught her how to use the computer before she turned 2. I taught her how to use the computer, and I'm paying for it, right? She's on that computer all the time. Okay, so that's a big story, and Bitcoin went up a little bit when this got announced, right? There was a push. We're not really seeing major action in Bitcoin. We've seen Bitcoin go from the mid threes to 10,000 over the course of this year. And on the face of it, that means that Bitcoin has outperformed every other major asset. It's outperformed the Dow, it's outperformed the S&P 500, it's outperformed the NASDAQ, it's outperformed gold. Just that fact that it's year-to-date gains, right? So this fluctuation between 10,000 and 4,000, or I'm sorry, 10,000 and 14,000 is kind of child's play. But you get a lot of people that want to write, intelligent articles about how Bitcoin is through now because it dropped from 14 to 10, or a dip below 10,000, or just all this, this petty little thing. Bitcoin is not the stock market, right? The stock market, when the stock market goes down by 2 or 3%, that's a big deal. When Bitcoin goes down by 2 or 3%, that's like a weekly event, right? That's like not that big of a deal. But there's all these, these analysts that want to read so much into the fluctuations of Bitcoin. And if you watch Crypto Lark, and I believe I have a card for Crypto Lark up in the corner there, Crypto Lark talks about that as well, that the long-term outlook for Bitcoin is bullish. And these monthly, weekly, daily fluctuations are, nothing to get all worked up over, right? All right, so all right, and so that's a big story that Bakkt is now, that's long-term bullish for Bitcoin. All right, and then let's see, what else do I have here? Binance is in the news again. There were some problems with withdrawals, and it had nothing to do with Binance. It had something to do with Amazon web services. They were not caching their website right, or whatever it was. So people were getting 500 errors. What do they call those? Oh, those errors you see all the time. Whatever it was. 500 error messages on APIs. So Binance is in the news. I've talked a lot of people about Binance. They're closing down access to their trading platform to users in the U.S. or people with U.S. IP addresses. And everyone was up in arms, and they were thinking, how am I going to get my coins off Binance, and blah, 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 blah. Well, as it turns out now, the updated guidance now is that they're not they're going to cut off trading and deposits to U.S. customers, but you'll still be able to withdraw whatever you've got on Binance. So it's not like you're going to lose your cryptocurrency on Binance. You'll still be able to withdraw it. And then also, they'll be opening up their US-based cryptocurrency exchange. So you'll probably be able to just transfer directly from Binance proper to Binance US and just pick up where you left off. Now, Binance US is only going to have about 30 different cryptocurrencies, not as much as the main Binance site. But so that's kind of where Binance is. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency news wise, right? Let's see, and then I think I had another news story here. Bitcoin is a new gold. Oops, that's the same story. Sorry. The U.S. Congress is still going after Libra, right? Facebook announced Libra, right? I don't think they'd even built it yet. They just published the white paper and made some business deals with some companies. And they immediately got attacked by, the president, the Treasury the Secretary, Maxine Walters, Congress. They painted a big red target on the back of their, on their backs, right? And so Libra is still getting bashed by Congress. They want to talk to him a little more. They're going to talk to him. Facebook's initial reaction when Maxine Walters said that they should stop development on Libra was, well, thanks for the advice, but we think not, right? But now they're really getting pressure from all directions. I think some of the companies that they partnered with are starting to face some pressure as well. I didn't read, there were some articles I thought I saw about some of the companies might be pulling out. Libra is getting kind of bashed from both sides. But in all of these congressional committee meetings that they had, the consensus, not the consensus, but the opinion, some opinions were given by people in Congress about Bitcoin proper, that it really couldn't be killed, right, by Congress or anyone. There's a lot of this attack on the initial announcement of Facebook Libra was bullish for Bitcoin, or a lot of people said it was. Bitcoin was already bullish when this Libra announcement came out, but so a lot of people just piled on and said that Bitcoin's bullishness was due to the Libra announcement. And then Congress attacked Libra, and Bitcoin sort of faltered. And there was a lot of conflation between Libra and Bitcoin. They're not the same thing, but a lot of the people that were asking questions in Congress really weren't clear on the difference between Facebook, Libra, and Bitcoin, and all the other cryptocurrencies. So there's a lot of confusion kind of in the whole space right now with people that don't really get Bitcoin, right? Because not everybody gets Bitcoin. Even myself and all of you guys, Bitcoin is hard to wrap your brain around, right? It took me several months to sort of wrap my brain around what Bitcoin was and how it worked and everything else. So I get it, right? It's not an easy topic. I talked to someone the other day. I told him I had this channel about Bitcoin, and he was like, I don't understand that at all. And I was kind of like, okay, I get it, right? So I think that's the consensus of the country right now is most people you ask about Bitcoin, they'll say, I don't get it, right? They may have an opinion as to its price or whatever, but as far as fundamentally understanding what it is, I think the majority of people would say, I just don't get it. I don't understand what it is. Okay. Okay, so I'm not familiar with futures. I need to read more. Yeah, so we're talking about futures. It's been around. Futures have been around for a long time. People buy and sell futures on commodities like pork bellies and frozen orange juice. I don't know if you've ever seen Trading Places. It's an old movie from the 80s, I guess, with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd and Jamie Lee Curtis. And it was about, one of the running themes of the movie was commodities trading, and they did some commodities trading at the end. And even on that, I was like, I don't get it. It was kind of like commodities trading and futures and all that. It's complicated. But now they're applying it to Bitcoin, and it's a thing that rich people do, right? Or big firms, big institutions, right? They're basically gambling on the price of something, right? Whether it's going to go up or down. So, and now they're sort of gambling on Bitcoin, but they're also, Bitcoin is going to be more intimately involved now because they're real Bitcoin futures. Okay. All right. So I think that was all the news that I had to talk about. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the new features of Ledger Live that have been recently introduced. Now, I've got experimental features on. So, like, if you go over to my settings, I've got some experimental features activated. I've got experimental nodes and experimental core. So, because I have those features activated, you can see here that in my accounts, I have an Ethereum account, but I also have tokens, right? So I can click this link, and you can see that I have Ethereum, and it lists all of my ERC20 tokens, which is a much needed feature of Ledger Live. Ever since Ledger Live has been around, or the Ledger itself, they have not had any support for looking at your balance of your ERC20 tokens or sending and receiving your ERC20 tokens. So now you can, right? So I could go to my link account, and I've got send and receive of my ERC20 tokens. So this is big for Ledger Live. I spent so much time on my live stream explaining why Ledger is a good thing because of its security, but also that it just did not. Ledger Live itself did not have support for ERC20 tokens. And, that's one of the big questions, People would say, how come I can't see all my tokens in Ledger Live? And so now they've addressed that, at least for ERC20 tokens. Now, there are some other tokens that you still can't see in Ledger Live, like Tron and Stellar and ADA. We talked about ADA and Cardano earlier. You still can't see those in Ledger Live. You can store them on the Ledger device. You can store the private key using the Ledger device, but you need third-party wallets to view your balance and send and receive, right? But Ledger's made a big step here in that now they support ERC20 tokens, which is pretty cool. They also now support this new native SegWit format, which is a new format for Bitcoin. And so you can see here at one point, I did the video where I just transferred all my wallet. I had to transfer my old balance from my old format wallet into my new format wallet. And I did lose a little bit of Bitcoin in the process, right? There were some network fees. But this new format going forward is the way to go. And so, when you buy Bitcoin in the future, it's better to store it in this type of wallet because it's faster and the network fees are lower. So you're going to take a little bit of a hit just moving your old Bitcoin wallet, the Bitcoin in your old wallet into this new format. But you'll notice that when you add an account, and we were doing this earlier, and we use Bitcoin. I don't think I'm in the Bitcoin. Oh yeah, I'm. Go into Bitcoin here. I sort of glossed over this when we did this the first time. You'll notice that when it adds accounts, that there are some empty SegWit accounts in there already, and then I believe there's some native SegWit empty accounts that I left in there earlier. And then here it wants to add a new. The format is called native SegWit. So it's a new feature that Ledger Live supports. And so I would suggest going forward, if you make any new Bitcoin wallets, that you create a native SegWit wallet. Now, if you just want to leave your Bitcoin in the old SegWit wallet, that's fine too. Or even if you have Bitcoin in a legacy wallet, you can still find the Bitcoin in Ledger Live, but you can't create a brand new empty legacy Bitcoin wallet. But you can still create a SegWit wallet if you want to, right? It offers, for add new account, right? It gives me two choices. I can choose a SegWit account, or I can choose the new native SegWit account, the new format. So it's a new wallet address protocol that has the support for it has just been added recently in Ledger Live, and so that's pretty cool. Ledger Live also has a new send all feature, which I really like. I'm in Bitcoin now. So let's just assume that I would like to send my Bitcoin somewhere. See, you've got this max here. You can send the max amount of your Bitcoin. It's also supported in other wallets too, like the Litecoin wallet. But not all the cryptocurrencies yet, I think. But this little max option is pretty cool. They just added that fairly recently. All right. So I invite you guys to check it out. I don't know how long it's going to be before you don't need the experimental feature, right? So right now, if you want to view your ERC20 tokens, you have to enable these experimental features. But at some point, I'm assuming that it'll be the default will be they'll have support for ERC20 tokens, and it won't be experimental anymore. It'll just sort of be built in. So we look forward to that. All right. So we were going to talk about the Crypto.com app. So let's check Crypto.com out. Crypto.com is a phone-based app. But it's a cryptocurrency exchange. It's a cryptocurrency exchange just like Coinbase, Bittrex, and Binance, but it only exists in iOS format or Android format. I'm assuming that you can also access it on Android. So, and I asked them about this, and they said it is because of security. They feel that the iOS closed system is more secure than the web server-based a cryptocurrency exchange format, right? So most of us are used to buying cryptocurrency on web-based exchanges, right? But a web-based exchange has to be running a web server, and web servers are vulnerable to hackers. Depending on how they're set up, it's not easy to keep web servers secure, right? There's a lot of IT that goes into all of that. So here it is. We've got Crypto.com, which is a cryptocurrency exchange, right? So I can buy and sell cryptocurrencies. Now, it will not pull money from your bank account the way Coinbase does, right? Coinbase has a feature where you can say, buy Bitcoin using my debit card, and it'll just like pull the money off your debit card and make the purchase. Or your bank account, right? You can set up your bank account. You can buy on Coinbase, but the money comes right out of your bank account. Now, Crypto.com is a little different. You have to actually send the money from your bank account to their bank account, right? So when you see that deposit up there, when I hit deposit, I have to send US dollar, and then they give me their routing information, right? They say, okay, send some money to this routing number and this account number, and then you'll be able to buy crypto using this app. And it doesn't take that long. It only takes a few days, right? So all you got to do is just think ahead and throw some money in there from your bank. And then when you get it in there, you don't have to pay any fees, right? So cheaper than Coinbase and Cash App, right? Because once you transferred the money, then they don't charge. I think they may charge you something small, but not very small at all. But that's just their cryptocurrency exchange, right? I can buy and sell, and they don't support as many cryptocurrencies as Coinbase. Well, actually, I think they have more than Coinbase, but less than Binance and Bittrex, right? So they're kind of in the middle as far as the number of different cryptocurrencies that you can buy and sell and trade. But they're always adding more, right? So, but they do have the major ones. So you can do that. But there's some other additional cool features on here that that make this a lot different than other cryptocurrency exchanges. One of them is that they will pay you interest when you store your cryptocurrency on this. So I can actually, and I forget how you do it, but I'll go through it at some point. You're basically kind of agreeing to keep it there for a little while. So, it's called Crypto Earn, right? So I go over to Crypto Earn, and then I click Start Earning Now, and then I can choose how long I want to deposit the cryptocurrency. And they pay me interest, right? Just like a bank would. Although banks don't pay good interest anymore. But they are. They're paying you 8% on your cryptocurrency if you're willing to deposit it there for 3 months. So pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's something that Coinbase doesn't offer. And then that MCO Visa card is the one that I've been doing some videos on. The MCO Visa card is an actual physical card, which I've left upstairs. I can bring it down. But so that card in the real world is like a Visa card. I can use it to spend crypto. So all I have to do is top it up, right? I can top it up with Bitcoin, or I can top it up with money that's in the fiat wallet. So money gets in the fiat wallet by my deposit, which isn't really, I really wouldn't want to just deposit my money from my bank and then use it to purchase stuff. I could. But really what it's good for is since they only let me use Bitcoin to top up, maybe I've got, I want to sell some of my Ethereum, right? Let's say I decide to sell this Ethereum for cash, then I can use that cash to top up my card and spend the Ethereum. So let's say I got $5,000 of Ethereum, right? And I've made a huge profit on it. I can sell that and use it to top up my card and then spend it. It's spendable right there and then. It doesn't take 24 hours. It doesn't take 7 business days. It happens right away. So that's the beauty of this. And then I've got a little, how do they profit if they don't have any fees? That's a good question. I think what they're trying to do is, this thing with this custodial thing, because they're holding it, they have more leverage, right? I'm sure they're getting trading fees when you trade back and forth. But I don't know. I think when you buy with your cash, they don't charge you. But when you withdraw, there's withdrawal fees, there's transfer fees, There's trading fees when you trade between Bitcoin and Litecoin and all that other stuff. So they do have fees, just like a regular cryptocurrency exchange. But when you fund it from your bank account and you use your own cash to buy the cryptocurrency, that initial purchase is cheap, right? I think it's no fees. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, let me show you this video real quick while we're all talking about this. So I took the come on guys, why? Okay, we're going to attempt to use our MCO Visa card to withdraw some cash from the ATM. So one of the commenters in my last video asked me if that was possible. So we're going to test it out. See what happens. Somebody asked me, can I use that card at the ATM machine? Because I did a video on spending. I spend it in Staples and I spend it in Shoe Carnival. And someone said, hey, can you just withdraw cash? And so I said, okay, let's check it out. We went to the ATM. Aha! So let's go with our PIN. All right, so I put in the card. It asked me for my PIN. Enter. Okay, so let's do get cash. Okay, so whoa, $3. Okay, so I got the I got the non-chase on top of that. I got the non-chase $3. So withdrawing cash is not going to be that economical, but in a pinch, we'll go for it. So and I'm continue, it was no percentage 20. Of the amount that I was withdrawing, right? It was just the $3 non-bank card ATM charge. See, there may have been a different ATM that would have charged me less. I don't know. I was using a Chase ATM. So I used a non-Chase card at a Chase ATM, and they charged me $3. And as it turns out, I did not get charged card first by Crypto.com. MCO Visa, and we got our cash. And there we go. So we just cashed out our Bitcoin. So we cashed out our cryptocurrency. A little overhead involved, though. Yeah. So we'll see if Crypto.com puts on anything over and above that $3 that the ATM charged me. And they didn't, right? So when I went home and I looked at my transaction history there with the card, if I can get to it again, you'll see there that ATM actually. When I looked at it, the first time I looked at it, it said $23. So now it only says 20. So I'm not sure what happened to that $3. That's kind of weird. I just looked at it now, and now it says 20. Originally it said 23. So basically, they didn't charge me anything on top of what the bank charged me. The bank just charged me the extra $3 because it was a non-Chase, which would have happened to anybody if you took your Bank of America card to the Chase ATM, right? But there are, this MCO is Merchant Bank. I don't know if there's any Merchant Bank ATMs in Grand Rapids, Michigan. There might be. There might be some in New York or wherever this bank is headquartered, and you could probably use this card in their ATMs with no surcharge at all. So, but see, there's a scenario that many people ask me about. They go, "Hey, what if I just want to cash out my Bitcoin right now? I want my Bitcoin." Okay, now within reason though. I don't know that I could withdraw $10,000 from an ATM, right? Probably not. But I could sell that. I could cash out that Bitcoin by topping. I could use the Bitcoin to top up my card. And then I could use that card to buy, let's say, a major purchase, like a washing machine, right? So I could go to top up. Whoops. I don't know what I did there. I could go top up and sell $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. I don't think I have 1,000. Let's just say 500. Not quite. Let's say, okay. All right. So I have $200 worth of Bitcoin. But let's just assume that I had $5,000 worth of Bitcoin and I wanted to withdraw $2,000 and buy a riding lawnmower right away. I could, right? So I could go ahead and spend that Bitcoin right away, right out of my crypto.com account. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty revolutionary because I really couldn't do that with my Coinbase. I could sell my Bitcoin on Coinbase and then cash out, but the money would not show up in my bank account until within 24 hours. Usually, they'll say it might take 3 to 5 business days. Here we've got a cryptocurrency exchange that'll let me sell my Bitcoin for cash and cash out instantly, within reason, right? I wouldn't be able to do 20 grand or 50 grand probably. It wouldn't be that easy. But pretty cool. I like the idea there. And that ATM sort of brought it home. Right there I was with $20 in my hand. Right then and there. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, Jay Christian. Good luck recovering your Ledger Nano X. I appreciate you coming and asking questions and interacting with everybody. Really cool. D, good to see you again. I love your non sequiturs. I was thinking about you the other day as I was going through. Sometimes I'll rewatch my video, and you always ask such interesting questions. Not always questions that I want to directly address, but I'm glad you're here. I think you add something. It's nice to see you here, and you hang out. So I always appreciate when people come here and hang out. All right, so NASDAQ is listing now, XRP. I don't know that Jay Christian was asking about the NASDAQ listing XRP. I may have heard some rumors about that. I didn't read any articles directly about that. Yeah. Oh, speaking of big banks talking about clarity and the fact that they don't get it. That was it. The Winklevoss twins. That was the story that it reminded me of. Let's see. I think it was Cointelegraph. Maybe not. Actually, I can just Winkle. All right, if we just do news. There it is. Winklevoss twins on Bitcoin. Wall Street has been asleep at the wheel. So that's the sentiment, right? And I think that sentiment is going to get stronger and stronger as Bitcoin becomes more institutionalized. There's more adoption, and we see the price going up. You're going to get a lot of people saying, hey, you guys are like dinosaurs. You're behind the 8-ball now. You missed the boat. You've been asleep at the wheel. All this good stuff. And then that's going to be even more of a catalyst to, for Bitcoin adoption and investment to pick up even more. Because as Bitcoin becomes more mainstream, the people that don't get it are going to feel left out, right? Oh, I don't get it. Well, you should get it because you're missing the boat here. So I love that. This is great. These guys are, they have a lot of pull because they're Bitcoin millionaires, right? They decided to take their settlement and purchase Bitcoin and made a killing, right? So they're poster boys for what Bitcoin can do financially for someone, right? I love this. Okay. I wish the mobile version had that too. Which is better, native or SegWit? Well, native is older and SegWit is newer. SegWit was an improvement over the native Bitcoin for legacy. So there's SegWit and there's native SegWit, right? The native SegWit is the newer format, supposed to be better, supposed to be cheaper, supposed to be faster. That's the idea, right? It's newer. It's new and improved Bitcoin format. So I don't know if there's an argument for the older SegWit or not. I'm not familiar with it if there is. I just assume if it's new, it's better. I could be wrong about that, but that's my assumption. Scott Lee's here. Yay! Oh, forgot the time change. No problem. I wanted to start maybe posting the event earlier in the week so people would see it earlier in the week, right? Because when I go into my YouTube page, right, I post an event. I tried to post today's event earlier so that if anyone saw the alert in their YouTube alerts, that they would that I would remind you about it. So I'll start trying to post it a few days early so it'll kind of stick in people's minds. But thanks for joining, Scott Lee. I appreciate it. As always. Oh, snap. All right. So let's move a little crypto. I've got some Ethereum that's been on the MCO Visa card, on my crypto.com account for a little while. So why don't we go ahead and move it over? You can see here there's some Ethereum. It's like $46 worth of Ethereum. But I'm going to go ahead and move it. I think I might take a little hit on the transfer fee. So we'll see here. There are always fees somewhere, right, in an ecosystem. So transferring it from their exchange to a wallet, your own wallet, does incur some fees. So they're making some money there. But let's do it anyway, right? So we want to transfer Ethereum to our own wallet. So let's go to our Ledger Live. Let me get this out of the way. Let's go over to our accounts. We'll go here to Ethereum. All right, and we want to do a receive. So I'm going to do a receive so that I can generate an address, right? And when you use Ledger and Ledger Live, and you should connect the device when you do the receive, because this gives you a total verification that you're sending it to the right place. In practice, you can write down your Ethereum address and just reuse it because they tend to stay the same. But let's do a formal receive, right? I'm going to click receive, and I want to receive Ethereum, right? And it wants me to enter the Ethereum app on the device. So let's do that. All right, chroma key. I don't know if I can get rid of it. It's there. It kind of disappeared, right? Whoops, quit. I was in Bitcoin, right? So let's go over to Ethereum, and then we'll hit both buttons. All right, so now we're in Ethereum. All right, so now the software is happy, and I'll hit continue. And now it wants me to verify the address on the device, right? So let's go over here. Let's take a look at this. This chroma key is going to be the death of me. All right, so it says verify address. Okay. There's the address, right? I can look at it on my device. It looks a lot better to me, right? I can read it on my device. Like, I can look at it. I can read it. And just match it to this one here on my screen, right? We just want to make sure it's the same address. And it's cool because the whole address shows up on the device. It's got a bigger screen than the Ledger Nano S, right? And then once I'm satisfied with that, I can go over here to approve, right? Right? And you notice that when I hit approve, then I can X out this guy and make it go away. So let's copy that Ethereum address. Now, unfortunately, the sending address is on my phone, and the Ethereum address is on my computer. So rather than manually typing it in, I'll just send it to myself. So let's go into mail. Let's do a send or compose, I guess. All right, to me. address. And let's paste that guy in there. All right? And let's send it. All right. Now, of course, the reason I'm doing this is so I don't have to type in that Bitcoin address on my phone, right? That would be very tedious, right? So let's go to Ethereum, and we're going to do a send, but first I need that address. So let me go back over to my Mail app, and let's get that address. Let's, there we go. We'll copy the address into our clipboard. Let's roll back over to crypto.com. Now, let's go ahead and send all this Ethereum. So I'll hit send. And I have to add it. Let's see. I'm going to hit withdraw ETH. And it wants me to add the address to my whitelist. I can do that. I'll hit plus. And then I'll... Oh! Silly me. I could have just done it this way. Yeah, I'm getting too old for this, guys. All right. So it's going to... Let's do that again. Right. That's the address right there. Silly me, silly me, silly me, right? Here I got a phone with a camera, and I've got a little icon there with like a QR code. I can just tap that. Or can I? Okay, there it goes. Right? And then I just scan the QR code on my computer screen. And there, that's the address that I need, right? I'll just name this Ledger. I can hear the kids arguing upstairs. Oops, what? You gotta be kidding me. Seriously? Okay, that's bizarro. Why would it tell me that's a bad address? Isn't this Ethereum? Withdraw ETH. Add wallet address. Maybe I talked too long, right? All right. Ledger. Oh, seriously. Oh, this always happens, doesn't it? I'm going to God, that is the Ethereum address. Why is it not letting me use this Ethereum address? Huh. Very bizarre indeed. Okay. All right. Why don't we just paste in that Ethereum address? Come on. Let's try again. I don't get it. I'm going to hit paste. That's the same address. I don't know. I'm just really confused. Oh, okay. When I pasted it in, it took it. So God only knows what that was all about. All right, so then it sends me a confirmation that is in fact the address that I want to withdraw to. Right? Confirm withdrawal address. I'm going to go through this little dance, and then it's going to reopen the Crypto.com app. What's up, buddy?
What, are you doing CryptoDad thingy?
Yes, I am doing CryptoDad thingy. All right. So now we've got the address in our whitelist, right? So what do we do? Did it go in there or did it not go in there? Come on, guy. Oh, there it is. All right, so now I tap send ETH there on the side. Ah! All right, so how much do I want to send, right? I want to send all of it, right? Max is down there right under the send button. So let's send max, right? And I'm assuming that it's going to ding me for whatever transaction fee they're going to take out, right? So we'll hit send. And now it wants to confirm. Okay, so the fee is 0.01 ETH, which is really nothing to sneeze at, right? Zero, we'll check it in a minute, but it's got to be a couple bucks at least, right? So we'll hit confirm. And it uses Face ID. And then it's submitted, and there we go. And then they send me an email to confirm that I withdrew it. And while we're there, let's take this down. We'll take this down. Let's check pricing on... Oops. Here we go. I think I've got Ethereum on here. Yeah, there it is. All right, so let's see what 0.01 Ethereum is right now, right? 0.01. Wow, it's like almost $2 I got charged to transfer. But it's always like that. Every cryptocurrency exchange charges you to withdraw. I guess except for Coinbase Pro, at least they used to not charge you anything, but now I believe they do charge you a little bit. So that's where they're making some money, right? They're charged. Now also, but they are also, let's see, I don't know that, I think they're the ones paying for the gas, right? So that's why, you know, they're trying to recoup their costs because it's their wallet that's sending the Ethereum. So they did they did need to use some gas to send it. So, but they may have made a small profit over and above what they spent on the gas, right? So, and if I'd have just sent it from my own wallet, I would have incurred some gas fees myself, right? So you're always going to get a little bit of fee, especially when you send Ethereum. But Bitcoin too. Bitcoin, Litecoin, any cryptocurrency, you're going to have to pay what you used to call it the miner fee, but it's easier to think about it as a network fee, right? The Bitcoin network, in order for it to exist, you know, people have to there's a fee for using it. It's a peer-to-peer type fee, but there is a fee, right? But it's cheaper than a credit card fee. That was the idea of Bitcoin, although it has been more expensive at times, right? So there we go, $1.92 it cost me to send that Ethereum. Let's take a look at Ledger Live, and I want to see the let's last operations. Oh, okay, there it is. It just came, it's already here. All right, so it just came in 44.35. I don't remember what it was before. I don't know if I lost even more on the blockchain or not. I'm not a stickler like that. I should be on CryptoDad, right? But we got it, right? So we were able to transfer it from an exchange to my own wallet. Now that was a very small amount. You might want to, but if it was the first time you had ever transferred from, say, crypto.com to your own wallet, you just want to make sure that everything's going to go through right, and that you're sending it to the proper address and everything else. Test it out with a small amount, and then maybe you could transfer the $5,000 or the $10,000 or whatever else worth of Ethereum to your own wallet. Yeah. So yeah, gas is just another middleman, right? But it's basically people that are on the Ethereum network that are running mining software, that are actually mining for Ethereum. They're the ones that are processed. They're looking to get the reward, the blockchain reward, but they're, along with that reward, they're also getting any transactions that they processed. And so the higher your gas, the more likely your transaction is to get mined. So if you're using your own wallet and you put your gas too low, it might take a really long time for your transaction to go through. It might not ever go through. So yeah, I mean, it's just part of the way the blockchain works, is that there will be fees, right? And the cryptocurrency exchange is absorbing some of those, but at the same time they're charging you so they can recoup their loss on that. All right. So there we go. We made a little transfer. LTC Perosi is here. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Always the cheerleader. I love it. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, I don't know why when I scanned that address, it told me it was an invalid address. It was the weirdest thing ever. But when I pasted it in, it took it. So God knows what. Maybe there was an extra space or something that was causing that glitch. I don't know. But we got through it, didn't we? All right. All right, and let's see. I don't know if there was anything else transfer-wise I wanted to do tonight. I guess what I'll reiterate that the original talk tonight was about the stock market going down today and Bitcoin going up today. Sort of behaving like a safe haven, right? And then we talked about the article in Forbes, which came out after I posted this title, that Bitcoin is the new gold. Pretty good for an article in Forbes, where he talks about the Bitcoin went up when the market went down. So Bitcoin is acting like a safe haven, like a gold safe haven. And then also, guys, keep an eye on my channel. Now that I'm in Michigan, I still do my dispatching and my office work, but there was some additional office work I was doing there in person that I'm not doing anymore. So now I'm here sort of focusing on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to be more engaged with the YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting more videos. So please keep an eye on my channel. Check out my videos. So I'm doing the MCO videos because I think MCO is really cool, actually. I love being able to, use this card. But I've also started doing some videos on smart home devices. So I would appreciate some support with these because it's not getting very many views. It might over time, but I use... Hey guys, CryptoDad here. So again. I'll show you here that hold that down and delete.
Press down on the button, then it recognizes that I've got it connected. Okay.
Right, so I'm out and about. You can see there I'm doing some, I'm setting up the Alexas, with setting up the lamps.
Panic, right? So frustrating. I mean, it's...
Let's see if I can find it.
Of course, the lamp is plugged in, and I'm just gonna.
Right,
I'm gonna take side an unsuspecting and.
Yeah, see, I'm like adding bulbs to the lamps and everything. I'm doing some like live action stuff with this smart home.
Of course, the lamp is plugged in, and I'm just gonna turn it on.
So if you're into smart home, if you're into Hue, if you've got an Alexa. I'm going to start putting up a lot of like my same format, right? How to step by step, how to set up an Alexa, and then I go back and forth between the actions that you have to do, and then the actual setting it up on in the app.
So we'll
phone,
deal with
right?
that, but
and that's
panic,
like my normal
right?
format.
So we've got our
you're
Hue
used to
color
me
lamp
doing
one.
this,
and
right?
we can call it anything
I'm covering
we want.
myself up. There's two of
There's
me.
a little bit of overlap in all this because I'm going to go ahead and set this lamp up into a room.
Right. So I show how to group bulbs into rooms and how to replace the bulbs in the kitchen and all that stuff. So I'm branching out into that. I hope you guys enjoy that sort of content. You may or may not, but definitely check it out. And if you got a friend or whatever, and he's like, I can't figure out how to set up my Hue lights on my Alexa, say, hey, go check out the CryptoDad. He's got some step-by-steps on how to do that. Right. So those are the videos for this week. And like I said, I'll be doing... Oh, okay, so let's go back here. It just said the ETH withdrawal was completed, which we knew that because we already saw it in Ledger, right? We already saw in the Ledger Live already told us that the ETH had come in earlier. But then I just got my alert from Crypto.com saying that the ETH had been withdrawn. So we transferred a little bit of ETH out of our Crypto.com account, right? And let me just check to see. I know that there were a few little comments there. Thanks, Juan. I appreciate it. Betty likes the time because she's on Central. It works well for her. It works great for me. I thought about doing it even earlier, but I didn't want to like upset the apple cart too much. And 8 to 9:30 is fine with me. Usually we're done with dinner by then, so it's a little better. And I've got my own cave now. We live in a 2-story house. I got the downstairs is where I've got my desk set up and all my stuff. And so I've got a little more seclusion, and I can focus a little more on the YouTube. So I look forward to throwing out more videos, maybe adding a second live stream in the middle of the week. Let's all hope that Bitcoin continues its climb and its adoption and its institutional acceptance. Let's hope that as that moves forward, there'll be more people joining the live stream. There'll be more people watching my videos that need help, and there'll just be more engagement and more activity on this YouTube channel. I really enjoy doing this. I get a little frustrated when I see people, playing Minecraft. A 30-year-old guy playing a game designed for 8-year-olds and making thousands of dollars on YouTube. But that's his genre. This is mine. Let's stick to it. And you guys are always very encouraging to me with your comments on the live stream and when I post videos. Scott Lee is always there and posting a comment on every single video I post. I really appreciate Scott Lee. It's really nice to see your comments whenever I post a video. So crypto, I think Scott was asking a question there about mining. Of course, we all sort of know now. I've talked about this. Bitcoin mining is not really profitable for a person. That's just the difficulty level of the Bitcoin blockchain is so high now that in order to profit on mining, you'd have to buy a pretty expensive rig and join a mining pool, and it would take a while to recoup your profits. And by the time you paid off your capital expenses with your mining reward, your miner would be outdated, right? So if it takes you a year and a half to recoup your capital expenditures on the purchase of the mining rig, and then couple that with your higher electricity bill, by the time you recoup your initial investment, a year and a half has gone by and the Bitcoin difficulty has gone up, and your mining rig is not as efficient as it was when you bought it. And so, it's kind of you might get some profit on the back end, but not too much, because pretty soon the efficiency of the miner would get to the point where you're spending more on electricity than you're gaining by the mining, right? And the same holds true with Ethereum mining. But Ethereum mining is a little bit more, not quite as difficult as Bitcoin, so it might be profitable to mine Ethereum with your GPU if you join a mining pool. There's no way you're going to find blocks if you're solo mining, right? You're always going to need to join a mining pool. So it's up to you, but I think Ethereum mining is still profitable if you want to do it, if you've got a decent GPU. But you're much better off mining with your GPU if you already own the GPU and you bought it as a gaming rig or whatever, right? But if you run out and buy the latest, greatest GPU so that you can mine Ethereum, then you're in that same boat again. You're going to have 6 months to a year before you recoup your original capital expense, right? So you're better off just sort of hobby mining on a GPU that you already own to get a little bit of extra cash, right, to help defray the cost of your new gaming GPU. Other cryptocurrencies are still easier to mine, right? Like I believe Monero mining on a GPU is still relatively profitable. You're not going to get rich, but you might get rich if the price goes up, right? So you could mine Digibyte, you could mine Vertcoin, you could mine some smaller cryptocurrencies and break even or whatever. And then if those cryptocurrencies, the market price of the cryptocurrency increases, then you might see a big return on your mining investment, right? If you take that into account. So let's say you mine Ethereum for a year and a half, and while Ethereum is $500, and then you mine, you manage to mine 5 to 10 Ethereum or whatever, and then the price of Ethereum goes to the moon, right? Then your initial investment, your profit is much more than compared to your original investment, right? So, but that's it. Cloud mining, that's a whole nother ball game. It is possible, and basically what you're doing is you're kind of just buying a piece of their mining operation, right? They've got a mining farm somewhere, and it's cloud mining, and you buy a piece of it or whatever. That might give you some return too, but there are a lot of scam cloud mining firms out there that'll say, okay, you pay us $1,500 up front, and then we'll give you a piece of our mining operation, and then you never see a return on that. And then they come back later and they say, oh, we need you to pay a little more because we've incurred some extra thing. It's a scam, right? Not all of them are scams, but there are a lot of scams out there. I've talked to a lot of people that get sucked in by these scammers that claim they're mining for them, and they're not. They're just like taking their people's money. So do your research. Make sure that if you want to do the cloud mining thing, that it is, in fact, a legitimate operation. Read reviews. Be smart. And if you feel like you want to invest some money in a cloud mining operation, there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know that is going to get you rich. You want to make sure that the cloud mining operation is actually going to be transferring the mined cryptocurrency to your personal wallet, right? You don't want to just go on the web and check the latest price of your cryptocurrency in their wallet, right? Okay, yeah, so there are legitimate ones and there are scams, so just be careful out there. All right, guys. So my dad just texted me that he's watching my live stream. That's pretty cool. I guess my parents are visiting my brother now. So I'm going to sign off, and I thank you everybody for joining me tonight. I see you gave them ETH. Interesting. All right. All right, guys. So it's been a good stream. Appreciate everybody joining. I'm going to go ahead and sign out, call my brother back, and talk to you guys later. Thanks again. And, I've got my new graphic over here. Let's check it out. All right. The Live from Michigan next week, same time, every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me next week. Don't forget, we're live from Michigan now. And then I'm going to give you this, right? Or it's actually this. From your perspective, it's pretty good. You have to look at your palms, right? So, but from your perspective, I think it's backwards, right? This is Michigan, right? If when I'm looking at my palm, right? Right, and then Detroit's there, and Grand Rapids is over here. All right, so I'll give you the Michigan goodbye. Talk to you guys later.